We got this.
We got it.
Hey guys, I'm Prai.
And I'm Gavin.
And this is the Pray for Growth podcast.
Woohoo! First episode,
woohoo! Where growth is the journey, so let's keep learning.
Mm-hmm.
And the first episode is going to be redefining labels
and reclaiming identity.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we. You know what? Let's just keep it real. This is our first one.
This is our first podcast episode.
You're gonna roll with us.
If it's choppy, just
as we go through this.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it.
You guys are growing through this journey with us.
It's a lot of growth. What are we doing?
Reclaiming identity and redefining labels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the first question is, how do you label yourself?
How do I label myself?
Yeah.
I label myself a brother, a man, black man, gay. A writer, performer, actor, a creative type, artist. I think I have tons of labels that I use to label myself. Spiritualist. What about you?
And you know what? I like that for the first episode, we're doing labels because you guys can kind of get to know us a little bit through how we define ourselves. I would label myself as a Black woman, an entrepreneur, an older sister, a daughter, a dog mom.
Really though, dog mom?
Yeah, dog mom. An artist, a creative, a dancer.
So with those labels, are those labels the totality of your identity, or you think those things shift and change throughout the day, throughout the month, time of the year? Or like, are you always defining yourself as those things? Because I think for me, and my labels, I think I'm always defining myself as a brother, as a man, black man, gay man, artist, whatever, performer. I just think at certain times in my life, those things like shift as to what's in the forefront. There are times that I'm more artist and more performer, and then there are times where I'm like, man, black man, gay, not, I don't know. I feel like there's this thing that I'm navigating out in the world about what shows up, what label shows up.
I like to call them eras. Like we all have like an era in our lives where one label is, at the forefront rather than others.
Right.
I'm in my soft girl era.
What is a soft girl?
Well, for me, it's not an aesthetic. It's a lifestyle. So choosing a life of ease and self-preservation, putting yourself first.
Did you coin that, or did you hear that from someone else?
No, I feel like it was already a coined term. But people were talking about it as an aesthetic. Like it kind of went viral and people were doing it as like a trend on social media where it was like luxury and, bows and ribbons. And I was like, for Black women, soft girl era is literally choosing a life of ease, not of survivalist, like of always having to bear it all. The weight of capitalism.
So this is where I run into friction with labels, right? Because I know this episode is about identity and reclaiming labels. Like when we get into things that are trendy, like soft girl and whatever, cottage core, I don't know. I'm just thinking of like weird stuff that people have said. And then like lifestyle. I struggle with like just existing. Like if I just don't want to be a survivalist, right? If I just want a life where I'm prioritizing self-care and taking care of myself or just not beating myself down to the ground and prioritizing my mental health, why can't I just be healthy? Why can't that just be a thing without a label? And I think that's a lot of times my struggle with labels, since we're talking about labels and reclaiming them. I think labels are just another form of capitalism. Someone says, soft girl is in right now, so we're going to market everything to the soft girls. Or you know what I mean? Or whatever is trending. So people who are trying to just live a life of authenticity, someone finds a way to make $1 off of it. And I don't think it makes your lifestyle choice invalid, but it's just another thing that's a commodity.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be a commodity. I just want to live and I just want to be happy.
See, you know what? You're right. Because that's why it's good that we have these conversations and we connect, because the marketer in me does exactly what you just said. Like, I find a term that is already trending, and then I choose to redefine it in a way that suits me. Right? And I think, like I said, the marketer in me just does that. And I don't think it's a bad thing until you take it as like, until you let it overly define you, is what I'll say. So I feel like labels, they don't have to be so like construct. It's just like, even how we talked about all the labels that we are, like you, like, you know, gay black man, like, but what does that mean to
Nothing.
you? Right, exactly.
It's just a mark. Sorry, if all the gay black men out there means nothing to me. I don't mean that. I mean, it's just a...
Y'all heard what he said. Shout out to LGBTQIA.
It's an identifier, right?
Yeah.
It's only for someone of the opposite sex to say, I'm not interested in you, right? So if you're like, hey, Gavin, I'm trying to take you out, and I'm like, Prasia, I'm gay.
That's your sexuality.
Right, that's all it means.
That just turns into a label.
Yes, and then that people associate this label and then they add things on it and bias and stereotype. And so for me, it's just like, this is what we've all agreed on as a word, that people who like the same sex will label themselves. So this whole thing is about people reclaiming their identities. I know that people choose to define themselves how they want, and everyone is entitled to do that. Part of me also too says, should it matter? I know I'm not going to go down the road.
It's the difference between reclaiming your identity can be using labels to do that, or not using the construct of labels to do that.
This is so philosophical.
That is...
Give me that question again.
It's the difference. I guess it depends on the person.
Right.
The difference between using labels to define you, or trying to break from the construct of labels to define you.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think there are people out there who are trying to reclaim their identity by breaking through labels. And then I think there are people trying to define themselves by embracing a label. I'm gay, right? So there's some power in saying, like, it is what it is my truth, and I keep it moving. For those who may have shame around certain labels, maybe embracing that label is the thing that helps you. I feel sometimes that when people have shame around certain things, and when they come into a place of healing and understanding, then they embrace the label. So they're like, yeah, you people are...
You just did something for me. And this is why I love you. Because I said, and that's me. And like, when you started talking more, I was like, shit, that's me. Because for a long time, and you know, I've told you about some of the trials and tribulations I've had this year. That's what I was literally trying to do, was break through the labels, like trying to show me through the labels. Like, and now I'm starting to embrace it more. Like, this is who I am. This is a label that I have, right? So how do I embrace it to feel better about myself, instead of like going against the grain?
I know we had a conversation about that. Can you just give the people listening a little bit about some of those labels that you maybe had trouble with, that now you're trying to embrace?
Yeah, the Black woman label is obviously a big one, because growing up, I felt like I was the stereotypical Black, strong, angry, bitter, assertive, like all of the stereotypical labels that they give a Black woman. For a second, like, I'm gonna just be honest, I am assertive.
Nothing wrong with being assertive.
Yeah, I am strong. There's also a lot of other sides to me,
right?
You know, but for me, I was like putting those labels of from the Black woman at the forefront, trying to break through, like prove myself. And now it's like, yeah, it's okay that those characteristics are a part of who I am. It doesn't define me. Like, I can also be soft.
Right.
I can also be, but because I was trying so hard to break through all the stereotypical parts, I was forgetting about the other sides of me.
Right.
And now that I'm able to embrace that side, all the other parts can shine a lot brighter. and then I feel like I glow more.
Right. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. Yeah. Because the thing about stereotypes, right? Mm-hmm. They are the thing that are at the forefront, particularly for minorities, Black and brown people, and people from other oppressed groups. I feel like our stereotypes are the things that what people, the oppressor or the majority says, like, this is what you are. And you're like, no, I'm a human with dimension and depth, and there are other qualities. And so I think when that's kind of been cast on you, and sometimes our community embrace those stereotypes too. It's like, you gotta be strong and Black, and I'm like, I just want to be human. And I've talked to you about my journey to humanity, because I don't want to be strong all the time. I know that I am strong just because I've had to be, but like, you're not going to tell me because I'm Black I should be strong.
Yeah, and then I feel like
it's the should be against, and it's like, no, so just friction. Let me show up and
be whoever I want to be.
I want to be.
And that's the thing that I was going to say. I feel like when you are breaking through, rather like trying to break through, rather than embracing it, you start asking the question why. And then you go into this whole psychosis. Yeah, like, why me? Why is this happening to me? It's because I'm Black. Well, yeah, it might be. Most likely is. But
it's because, yes, I'm about to say this. Yes, it is because you're Black.
Yeah.
And because we embrace Blackness. And part of embracing some of that Blackness has been embracing stereotypes. They've just been baked in. And so when you're pushing and excelling beyond that, and you realize that there's so much depth and there's so much stuff beyond that, like richness beyond, beyond this little small box of Blackness, whatever Blackness is. And we know that Blackness is expansive. There's Black people all over the world who don't act or speak or do things, or like culturally that's different from what we do here in the States. America, And I think that when we have a realization of that, I think it's like a light goes off on the inside.
It's like your brain expands.
But if everyone else around you haven't had that same awakening, that is the struggle, because then people are casting you as being different. You're not Black enough. You're not whatever enough, you know? And when that's coming from your own community, because sometimes it comes from our own community, a lot of times it comes from our own community. Yeah. I think that's harder than it coming from someone outside of the community. Like, so to say things like not being Black enough or whatever, that hurts more than anyone who's not considered. Because like,
what does that even mean?
Right. Like, what does it mean?
Finding some of the stereotypes that society gave us is that's sad, but that's how we learn to live our lives. Unfortunately, it's like ingrained, and so we have to choose conscious living, so that we're not a part of that.
So it's the conscious living reclaiming the identity.
Yeah.
Wow. And so how do we do that? How does one reclaim
without talking about labels?
I don't know, because I guess people are listening are like, oh, I don't like being called a bitch. Or I don't like
Are you a bitch?
I don't know why I use that example. I read this book, The Four Agreements, right? Don Miguel Ruiz. And he talks about like words basically have the power. We make an agreement with the words we use. So we say like this word has a negative connotation, then that's what we're agreeing for that word to mean to us. And I think it's the same thing with labels. Like if you take the negative connotation of the label and
perspective
and only see that, then of course you're going to shun that label. So I think for the person who's trying to reclaim whatever identity that it is, or a label, like what is your perspective on that, and how can you, and if your perspective is a negative perspective, how do you change that negative perspective into something that's positive and uplifting for you?
Yes, for you. It's about you choosing it and you defining it for yourself and then embracing it.
I hate using certain labels, because there's even a bias that we have about certain labels. So I was going to say soft, and I hate using the word soft.
I used to hate using the word soft too, and I think that's why I keep saying soft girl era for me, for everything, because like soft sounded weak.
And I don't want anyone.
And I was like, I'm weak.
Right? Like, and it's See, that's the thing. Like, see, so we're even showing like the own biases that we have around certain labels because I didn't want to say the word soft because I don't want anyone to mistake that as a weakness or softness as being fragile.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you, just because you're soft don't mean you're fragile. It just means
Right.
it comes in. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, a way that softness showed up recently in my life, like even me and my man were talking to our therapist about it, and he was saying, and my therapist was saying, like, you want to be taken care of. And I was like, no, I do not want to be taken care of. Taken care of is soft. Like, I do not want to be taken care of. I can take care of myself. And then she's like, we're not calling you soft, like in that way, or like saying that you can't take care of yourself. And even you responding in that defensive way, reacting, right, is showing that maybe you do want to be taken care of, but you never have been. And that's why you hate the word soft so much, or the phrase being taken care of, because you take it as you can't do it for yourself, or it's something that you lack. And it's absolutely not. We're babies and we come out the womb, somebody got to take care of us. So if you want to be taken, in some of the things that you said you want out of your relationship is in a way to be taken care of, maybe not like trophy wife financially, right? But other aspects, like, and I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that hit a spot.
It did. And I was like, dang, I do want to be taken care of, because I've never been taken care of before. It feels good, but I'm scared.
But I think, and I don't know, maybe I'm painting with a broad brushstroke here, but I do think that's a struggle for a lot of Black and brown folks.
Yeah.
Like we're not allowed to be soft. Mm-hmm. Like, think about calling a Black man soft. That's like fighting words.
That's fighting words.
You know? But I think also too, it's just tough to exist today in the world. Yeah. And just like you want to be taken care of, we need to be taken care of. All of us need someone to
all of us need, yes,
take care of us, nurture us, and love us, instead of being strong and having to figure it out and like, I'm gonna find a way. I don't think we allow ourselves the grace to do it. I don't think we allow ourselves, even as I sit here, the vulnerability, like even as I talk about it, like I don't think I would label myself as soft, even though I know, and most definitely know, like even right now in this moment, in this space and in this time, there are times that I want someone to be there and do the thing for me, to take care of me. Like there's a lot of times, there's a lot of days and times that I'm not good, but I'm working on being okay with saying that I'm not good, and that not being a negative thing, because there is strength in recognizing what it is that you need and not denying that you're in that place.
Right. Because it takes courage to be the opposite of that, and then to ask for.
Right.
All right. So, what are some recent experiences, to be specific, that you've had that have transformed your identity?
Recent experiences? Yeah. That has transformed my identity. So speaking of the softness, I think, or the vulnerability, right? I think, and like this issue I was having with someone that I was, who's the airing? I'm not airing out all my dirty laundry on this podcast.
No name.
But yeah, so someone I was into, like, didn't quite work out isn't going the way that I thought it would go. And I think in that moment, I did realize that there was a part of me that was very soft, in my core, in my mushy part, mushiness inside of me. There's a lot of mushy that I'm starting to recognize that's there. And I think that when I was younger, I looked at it as a weakness to say, like, oh, I'm going to be unaffected by a person's behavior who I feel a strong emotional attachment to, because if I'm affected by it, then that means they have power over me and I'm weak. And I had to change that narrative and say, it doesn't mean that I'm weak because I'm affected by it. It means that I'm alive. And I should feel something. I should feel something and someone that I say that I love and that I care for and that I would cross the earth for, does something that disappoints me. That is a natural reaction. It's not a sign of weakness. So I've embraced that. I've embraced that softness.
Yeah. When you told me this scenario, I thought it was very passionate and stand up. I know other people told you differently, but me trying to move into that space as well with my relationship,
right?
I thought it was sweet.
But also too
but I also was nervous for you.
Right. But also too, for me, it's about being authentic. That is who I am. And fighting against that is unauthentic for me.
Yeah.
I know that now at this space in my life to say I'm gonna fight these feelings and emotions because I'm tough. That is not me. I go hard for people that I love and I put it out on the line and I'm unapologetic about it.
Yeah. Yeah. She said, no. I'm only saying yes because I think you did it in a way to where it wasn't toxic. But I think that line.
And toxic is a label that I don't like either. I'm a firm believer. Like I said, there's nothing bigger than life. You go, I say this, move in the direction of your joy and your happiness. And when you're moving in the direction of your joy and happiness, there's nothing sluggish about that. There's nothing half-assed about that. That is 100% energy and intention. And it's like this.
Yeah.
So, and I think when people see you move that way and they're not in an authentic place with themselves, they can project and they can say things like, "Oh, you toxic," or "Oh, that's not what you're saying about me." But I feel
why would you do that?
Yeah, I feel like people we're at a day and age.
What if they don't receive it in the way that that you want it? You're like, I'm not doing it.
I'm doing
so that
it
I can get a certain reaction, or I'm expecting something from this person. Right. I'm doing it because I feel called. This is what my intuition is telling me to do. And I don't know how it's going to work out. But I'm choosing to live my life this way because it's a part of the plot.
It's a part of the plan. And you don't know it until you move towards it, and moving towards it might move you through it or make the thing happen. But to resist it, I think a lot of times we miss our blessings and our purpose because we resist the thing, because we don't want to own that label. We don't want to say, "Oh, I look crazy," or "Oh, I look weak," or "Oh, I look this thing." So we'd rather do the thing that make people happy. I don't give a fuck. But sorry, there I go again, dropping that.
It happens.
At this stage in my life, I don't care about those things. But what about you?
Dang, what was the question?
An experience that has changed the way that you view a label about yourself.
I've had a lot of recent experiences turning 30 and all the themes that came up with it, being a mom, career, just what do you want to do with your life, all those different things that come up. And it was a very transformative period of time because all of the things labels that I used to identify myself, I kind of that's why it was cool that I met you, because I kind of had to put them in the background for a second and be like, I'm very aware of who I am, what I like, and the labels that represent me. So now let's put those down for a second, come back to you, and how are you living? And I felt myself wanting to change up or overwhelm my day-to-day life. I wanted it to be different. I just wanted to enter a new reality. But I had no idea how. And so for me, everybody talks about, old frequency and, your higher frequency or new frequency. It was in that uncomfortable space in between both, where you feel yourself transcending, but you don't want to because you've been comfortable with surviving and all of these, even the labels that we talked about, they're stereotypical, trying to fight through those, being exhausted, doing a million things, expecting a specific outcome rather than just living. I was like, what the hell does living mean to Prasia? I had no idea. This year I had to literally outside of career, because I've also been looking for work for a year.
Right.
And, I was used to having the labels, marketing manager, director, coordinator, whatever it is for this company, or consulting of this moment to like help define me and what I'm doing with my life. And now that that was taken, I became so insecure for a second. And honestly, I was sick. But, and I think part of me being sick was due to that. Like, even though there was like some actual medical things going on, if we're spiritually speaking, but like being, parentified as a child, I definitely use labels to define me. Older sister, like, and there are certain characteristics that I thought made the whole of me. And if I acted outside of those characteristics, people who knew me would say, that's not Prasia. Like, even showing up on social media in this way. And so I wanted to stay in that box while I was fighting through that box. I was like, y'all keep trying to put me in a box. Y'all keep trying to put me in a box. I'm not in a box. I'm multidimensional. I'm this. And then I'm just like, I don't have to prove anything to anybody.
No, you don't.
I know I'm that, and that's okay. I don't have to like prove it to show people that. They're already going to see it through my energy.
That was informed by the label that you had, that you are an entrepreneur, you're a marketing manager, you're a marketing coordinator. And so because those are not there anymore, you feel like you don't have an identity. And so you felt shame behind not working. And so you drove yourself crazy because you felt shameful for not having a title.
And then the universe is like, I'm applying for all these jobs, I'm doing all these interviews, going to the third round. Everybody's saying, you're amazing, you're great. As usual, no constructive criticism. And I would feel in my gut that this is not the space for me, even with
but you kept doing it anyway.
But I kept doing it anyway.
You wanted the title.
Because I wanted the title.
And it was important to you because you defined it.
And then, you know why? It wasn't meant for me, though. The universe there was so much resistance. The universe was like, you're going to make it to the third round. They're going to tell you that you're great. It's going to seem like you have the job. Oh, but they're not hiring this year. Oh, but something happened. And right now, my gut keeps telling me, my intuition, which has always spoke very loudly. Like, I've always had a very strong intuition. And when I don't follow it, usually that's when things don't
go right.
Yeah. And it's telling me right now that this is what I need to be focusing on. Like, I was nervous about having my part of the rent last month, but the universe and God made a way. Amen. If I were to define my life in two different opposite perspectives using labels right now, and this is, I guess, another reason why I started picking up the soft girl era, all those different labels and redefining them, is because the negative perspective would be she's unemployed, she's not practical.
I got that a lot.
Yeah. It would be all of those things. But then I looked at it as the other side, like feeling that the universe is giving you the space for that to come true. I'm like, whoa, it's actually already happening. Like, I am an entrepreneur. I am employed. So I'm employed by my business and I have side gigs and jobs. Like, so there's like two different sides of it. There's two completely different perspectives.
And this is when I hate labels, right? Because I feel like when you're a dreamer, dreamers are always considered to be impractical. Head in the clouds, impractical, foolish, stupid, wasting your life because you have this dream, you have a desire to make this thing happen. Like, it's been inside of you, you've been birthing it and taking care of it, and you're trying to manifest it or make it happen. And everyone around you is calling your dream or your business idea or your vision impractical or stupid or wasteful.
Not ideal.
A few moments later, those labels get thrown at you, and then it's so easy for them to throw you off track.
Yes, and to fall into that hole of insecurity where you feel like that is all that you are. And
because you start believing it.
Because I started believing it. So for 6 months, I felt like that's all that I was this sappy, unemployed, stupid little girl. And who couldn't do anything for herself, even though I knew it wasn't true. And I'm like, why am I subjecting myself to this torture? And it's only because I chose to believe it. And there was literally a switch. And then as soon as it like that switch went off my brain, I had an epiphany and my mindset shifted. And I realized, like, you got to keep going.
So what's the switch? What was the switch? How do you Turn the switch on. Because I think everyone needs that switch. I feel like some days I find the switch, some months I find the switch, some years I find the switch. But some of us need to know how to find it. Like, how are we, like, what are strategies, a way to orient ourselves to realize when we are taking on these labels, these bad labels or these negative identities, and so how do we find a switch to reclaim? Because I think that's the toughest thing for people to do, myself included, to make that switch.
The switch for me was feeling bad and wanting to be happy and realizing that I could only do that for myself. And so being tired was the switch. So let's do some reflecting. One, look at your current experiences and how you got here. Two, think of some past experiences that you've overcome and how did you do it?
Right.
And then the third thing, what could the universe be showing you right now about yourself in your life? Yeah. Put it all together and you'll come up with a culmination of things where you'll start to like make connections and you're like, oh, so that's how it happened. I'm not gonna say be that person where everything's a symbol, you know. I'm like that to a degree. I'm like, is that a symbol? It's a sign. 333 444 444. But to a degree, I think you have to look at the symbolism in your life, but the evidence that it's showing you. So like the actual situations that happen. So literally how I told you, and actually for me, since the term practicality was a thing that I kept going over in my head about the decisions that I'm making are practical. It's sending me through hardship. That was like the one thing that people kept telling me. It's like, why do you keep choosing this life if you're not making it, right? And so for me, I was like, okay, what do you want? And what do you want right now? Like I had to go back to like, what is it that I want? And I was like, you always told yourself that at your last job, if only I had time and space to work on my stuff full time, oh, I'd be great. It would get off the ground. Like I told myself, that's all I needed. It's because I'm working for these people. It's because all my energy is being spread thin. That's why I'm not successful. And so what did God give me? The time and the space.
Gave you a whole bunch of time. I was like, I don't want this time. I'm unemployed. I'm broke. I hate my life. But now you got this time. Which is why I always think you have to be careful what you wish for.
But they give you a situation to test it. So like, you know how people say when you say you want to be patient,
right?
God doesn't give you patience, or the universe, however you define it, doesn't give you patience, but it gives you a situation where you have to be more patient. So for me, that's literally what it was. It was like, no, it's not that you need more time and energy. You're already making it happen. You just have a problem with being content and living life in the present moment.
So you got a problem with being present?
Yeah. That's what it is. I had a problem being present. No, and just enjoying life.
Right.
And being like, I'm always grateful, but I did not have sincere gratitude for literally what was around me. And I had to stop and be like, okay, look at the present evidence. Like, what do you have around you? I was like, I'm living in a nice apartment. Like I said, it's not how I dreamed of getting it, but I did write on my empowerment board right here in this section, manifestation thoughts, roadmap for success. I wrote in August 2023, I think it was 2022, whatever, that I would move to Brooklyn and have a luxury apartment. I did not intend for it to be, moving in with my boyfriend because of a situation with my own apartment.
But it happened.
And
you got what you wanted.
And we made it a home. And I've gotten what I wanted. And that's secretly what I wanted too, was to be able to make a home with somebody else. I was so used to living with my sisters, etc. So it was a good thing for me. But I was viewing it from the old me. And I was like, oh, you're an independent bitch. You're supposed to be getting this on your own. Like, the hell? This is not your space. This is his space. Like,
and that's how you talk to yourself too, isn't it?
And that's how I talk to myself.
That's how most of us talk to ourselves.
And I was like, it does not matter because you're here.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
And as soon as I shifted that perspective, what happened? He started getting me decorations. What do you want for this? What kind of pillows do you want? What do you want for this? Blah, 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 blah. I started getting stuff for the place too. And I'm like, oh, shit. It's my place too.
This is home.
Right. This is home.
It's home. It's what I wanted.
Yeah, it's what I wanted. This is what I wanted. And that's like for every little thing that happens. Like you can view it from the old sense of self of like, how you thought it would happen, but like the universe is giving you the situation so that the new version of you, the higher frequency, can rise to the occasion.
Right.
And that's how you receive it.
Okay. Let's get to this.
Drop mic.
Drop mic.
All right. Yeah, so that this whole year has been a transformative experiences that redefined a lot about me. I'm a new person. Hello. Praise it 2.0.
She's transformed indeed.
Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more transforming that's still to happen.
We're always constantly growing and changing.
Yeah.
Growing. We're praying for growth.
Yeah, we're praying for growth. Amen. Okay, so we're going to play a game called This or That. You guys all know what it is. It's not the freaky version.
Maybe it is.
I'm kidding. This is a spiritual version. Amen. Okay, so Gavin, you go first. Introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert.
Optimist or realist?
Optimist.
City life or suburbs?
City life.
Leader or team player?
I'm a team player.
Spiritual or logical?
Spiritual.
Fight for change or stay in your lane?
Depends on the day.
You gotta pick one.
Fight for change.
Amen. Labels are empowering or labels are limiting?
Limiting. Oh, I keep hitting my mic.
Say it again.
Labels are limiting.
Nice. Okay. Self-love or self-discipline?
Self-love.
Saying no or saying yes?
Yes.
Healing your past or building your future?
Healing my past.
Amen. Manifestation or hard work?
Manifest. We're going to manifest the fuck out of this. With a little bit of hard work on the side.
As we're already hard workers. The Black people, it is in our human nature. If you've gotten to the level that we've gotten to be hard workers, I'm not trying to bring any more of that into my life.
Right. I've worked hard for everything. I have everything.
Give one line or one sentence for each explaining why you chose what you chose. So you said that you were an extrovert.
I'm an extrovert because I love people.
Okay, and so for optimist or realist, you said you were an optimist.
I'm an optimist. I'm an optimist because I always want and work for the best outcome.
Nice. You picked city life.
City life, again, there's usually a lot of people in the city.
Right.
I like diversity.
Okay, you picked team player.
That's interesting because I think most people see me as a leader. And I don't deny that, but also too, because I love people so much, part of my leadership style is being collaborative. So it's never about me like being out front. It's if I have a group of people together, like how are we all gonna make this thing happen? So I love trying to pull out the best in people so that they can realize the thing in themselves. And you think about it, you put people on your team because you see something in them.
Right.
You know?
That's a good way to
I'm not trying to outshine you. I'm like, you smarter than me. I'm my team.
Yeah,
and we're going to use their brain to get that thing done.
Okay, so he leads to being a team player. That was not a sentence, but it was really good.
It was a paragraph. Sorry.
Okay, so you picked your spiritual. Obviously, that's why we're doing this podcast.
Right.
Fight for change is what you picked.
Even though I say I want to stay in my lane, I have a hard time staying in my lane.
Same. You said labels are limiting.
For the reasons that we talked about tonight. I think it's just something, it's a barrier. A lot of times for us, it's a barrier. So
Gavin just wants to be human.
That's all.
That's all. You said self-love over self-discipline.
Self-love. I'm disciplined enough. I don't need to be mean. So like when you were saying like the negative talk to yourself, I've had enough of that.
Yeah.
And that has kept me in check for majority of my life. I know that I can be disciplined. I know that I can make good decisions. I just need to love myself. That's all. Self needs to love. I ain't gotta be mean to you, buddy.
Saying no or saying yes?
Saying yes. There's power in yes.
Ooh.
That's power in no too, but
Yeah, I like that. Healing your past or building your future. You said healing your
healing my
past.
past, man.
What's in that past?
Hola. Look, Gavin needs little self love, and so which is what like little him needs to be healed, and so we heal. I'm healing him daily.
You said manifestation over hard work. That's a given, y'all. Like we're not explaining that because
It's just got to.
okay. Now my turn.
Okay, you introvert or extrovert,
Extrovert,
optimist or realist,
optimist,
city life or suburbs,
city life,
leader or team player,
leader,
of course, spiritual or logical,
spiritual,
fight for change or stay in your lane.
fight for change.
Labels are empowering or labels are limiting.
Labels are empowering. Ooh,
Okay.
he could be best.
Self love or self discipline?
Self love.
Saying no or saying yes?
Saying no.
Ooh, rejection. Healing your past or building your future?
Healing my past.
Manifestation or hard work?
Manifestation.
Okay. Why did you say extrovert?
Um, because while I have introverted tendencies, the way I show up in the world is as an extrovert. So, like when I go into different places, spaces, I'm more of an extrovert than introvert.
And you're an optimist. Why?
I think it's just an innate characteristic about me. I can't help but to be optimistic, even if it's something bad. I'm always thinking about the positive side of things.
And you said leader.
Leader. I'll just be honest because I like being the motherfucking boss.
I feel like taking orders from anybody.
I don't like taking orders from nobody, and I'm a very good team player. I actually am a leader in the way that you are. The only difference is I'd rather be the boss.
Spiritual or logical? You said spiritual.
Spiritual. That's why we're doing this podcast, and everything that I do is based on spirituality.
Fight for change or stay in your lane?
Fight for change, same reason as you, because as much as I would want to stay in my lane,
I
have a
your
throat chakra is defined.
You said labels are empowering.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. He's gonna beat my ass, y'all. I say empowering. I think it's the marketer in me.
I was gonna say that it has to be the marketer in you.
And I think it's all about how you define it. And sometimes I use it as a way to change the negative perspective that I had with that label into something more positive.
And self love, you said, or self discipline?
Self love, because like you said, I have enough discipline. Like that is like I was Black excellence is a thing, right? It can be a toxic thing. We already know we're hardworking. We already know that we exceed the expectations. If I want to be disciplined, the way to do that is through self love.
I like that. So saying no, because there's power in your no.
This one's a weird one for me, actually, because it's actually both, but I say saying no because I'm trying to practice having more boundaries. I feel like I had a lot of boundaries, but maybe not the ones that I should. Like I feel like I can be what is it called? A people pleaser. Yeah, I can be a people pleaser. So saying no, especially to the ones I love the most, is hard for me.
And healing your past?
Yeah, healing my past only because I had a real like conundrum with the building your future where I was too focused on that to where I was avoiding my past and realizing that the avoidance of not healing my past is what was keeping me from my future. I'm like always building your future and forgetting about the past. So, like you said, little Persia and Gavin need love.
Yeah. Manifestation, because we know we tired.
Yeah, because we tired.
Working too hard.
Why do you want to work so hard? That's exhausting. You do not get a pat on your shoulder, A plus. Y'all ain't gonna get rich working hard. The hell, what do you think these white people are doing? Not working hard.
What did you say?
I love my white allies. I do.
But she said they're not working hard though.
Yeah, but they're not working hard. And not everybody. The ones who are anointed know they need to do some hard work, but
I love you. I'm gonna say that. Dance break?
Yeah, let's get it. And paper growth. Not the outro be the dance break. This is awkward.
Okay, maybe we don't dance. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't dance break out. Maybe we just give a nice clean cut.
I'm sorry. Oh, bear with us. Bear with us. Okay, so we're gonna end this episode with a little affirmation to get you guys through the week. And the affirmation for today, so we're gonna write it on our empowerment board. So if you don't have one of these, get you one of these.
Where can they get it?
Alwayspray.com. Pray with an I. If you subscribe, you get 20% off. DM us, I'll give you an extra 20%. Okay. All right. Dear future self, to future me with love. What should be our affirmation for the day or this episode?
I say, dear future self, break through all the noise.
A little cliche, but I like
it. She called me cliche.
Cliche sometimes is
okay. No, dear future self. No, I do. I want to break through the noise. I want to break through the noise of the labels.
Yeah.
So why are you calling it cliche when you want to break through it also too?
Yeah, break through the noise. It is noise. All of it is noise.
That's all it is. Labels are noise.
Just noise.
Oh.
All right. That's what we're doing this episode. So what am I saying? Break through, dear future self, break through the noise. Ooh, yeah. Yes. Break through the noise. Yeah, break through the noise of all the labels and redefine yourself as you see fit.
Right.
Right. So it's a wrap. How are you feeling about that? Good?
I'm feeling good about it.
Yeah, we're happy that you guys are here with us on this journey. So like, share, comment, subscribe, or whatever it is that you do.
Subscribe. Yeah. We want to keep doing this.
Again, it's only going to get better and better. Yeah. Drop some topics in the comments.
Comment. I might point on my knees. No, don't comment on my knees. No.
It's not that kind of podcast. I mean, unless you want it to be.
No, we do not. Do we?
Yeah, I was like, do we? Hey. They love sex.
Pray for growth.
Anyways, pray for growth.
But growth is the journey.
So let's keep learning.
See you next time.
I don't know why I put the camera off.